Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Premier League of Terra Mystica. I'm Aaron. I'm known on Board Game Arena as webberaj. I'm going to be one of your co-hosts for today's game, along with Jekyll, who's on voice chat with me. Welcome, Jekyll. Thanks for doing this with me.
Hi, Aaron. Hi, everybody.
So I will admit, I just sort of threw this stream together kind of last minute. I just finished a work day and to jump right into this, so I'm going to do my best to sort of talk through this game. But Jekyll, you're going to bail me out when I start saying things that make absolutely no sense.
I'll do my best.
Okay, cool. So this is really exciting. I'm going to jump over to the game board. We can introduce the players that we have playing today. We've got Deep Finesse, Matt the Lesser, BC Goa, and Astari. And look at the elo there. That is absurd. Jekyll, before we get started, do you have any hot takes on who's going to win this game?
You know, lately Bichagoa has been on this crazy hot streak, and I would really like to see him continue that and, you know, just surprise everybody and take down Deep Finesse.
Fair enough. All right, go Astari. I'll jump on that bandwagon with you. Sounds good. I think they started.
He's one of those players. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Bichagoa is one of those players that he swings a lot. Like I think he can just have a bunch of he could go on a cold streak and then he's somewhere in the 400s and then a week later he's 658. So
right,
you just never know with him.
Right. I'm just about to go to a game in a second. It looks like everyone's accepted, so the game board is getting set up. But just before I jump to that screen, I will just go over these settings with everyone really quickly. I'm sure folks have had time to read them anyhow. But we are playing on fast speed. It's going to be revised base tonight. Auction, variable tournament order, and expansions on, of course. Landscapes are on. Fire and Ice final scoring is on, but Fire and Ice factions are off. I don't think I've ever seen this setup. Revised base with landscapes and Fire and Ice scoring. How does Fire and Ice Endgame scoring work on revised base? My goodness.
I thought this was one of the settings in one of the Premier Leagues that happened already. I recall
Really?
Deep Finesse building as nomads, like his stronghold sanctuary in bizarre places.
Well,
That
I'm
just me.
excited to see some big buildings built in very strange places tonight. For
Yeah.
those who are sort of newer to Fire and Ice Endgame scoring, let's see if I can hover over this. Yeah, so this is the final scoring option is called Stronghold and Sanctuary. So it's just the longest distance between your Stronghold and your Sanctuary on your map, assuming that they are part of a single connected network. Yeah. Not sure. Jekyll, do you have anything you can... I don't have a ton of experience, to be honest, with all of the Fire and Ice final scoring. Do you have anything smart to say about the Stronghold and Sanctuary scoring? Who's good at it? Who's not? Like, it seems to be a hard thing to sort of fix later in the game.
Well, just looking at the setup, I see that there's a Stronghold Sanctuary round in round five, but
Yeah.
no tile. So I actually think that kind of works well because nobody is really incentivized to build it in the early rounds. And then, those factions that can build it late, Swarmlings are in already.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, maybe Swarmlings will try to postpone their sanctuary till pretty late, possibly.
Yeah, maybe.
Because you
Although,
don't really want to commit to a certain location.
I guess the only consideration with
Too early.
Swarmlings is unless you're playing network Swarmlings, it's common enough for you to sort of do the 2 to 3 town. I mean, I guess you can do a mega town, but to do the kind of disconnected Swarmling stuff. Anyhow.
I see that Deep Finesse has already put in nomads, and
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was revised base where he built his stronghold sanctuary really far apart,
right.
northeast and I don't know, somewhere in the center. So that was with
Interesting.
nomads.
Round one being a temple event, I mean, it's not necessarily the case, but it can often be the case that where people build their round one temple is the location of a future sanctuary. I mean, I suppose you can build a second temple later. But those are some of the considerations that you have to think about when that come into play with this sort of end game scoring. Is early decisions that you make about locations of certain structures are going to play sort of a longer game, like are going to have impacts on the locations of those big buildings quite late in the game. Unlike edge scoring, that you can kind of your darklings just build up your priest productions and just sort of dig stuff towards the end of the game. This one's kind of interesting because some factions are going to want to open sanctuary or open stronghold, that kind of thing. Um,
Hmm. I would expect definitely like mid-game temples, especially because
right.
they're not nobody's going to be building their sanctuary like earlier than they have to.
Right. So, like a classic temple faction is apt to see a temple in round one, another temple maybe in round four, into that being a
Hmm.
sanctuary in five kind of thing.
Hmm.
Do you want to help me break down the setup a little bit? Like, let's talk about the pass tiles and the track, and just roughly speaking, how you sort of feel these factions need to be evaluated in auction. I realize I just threw like 8 things at you, but you know.
Um, okay, so I like to look at pass scrolls first. I would think like, oh, it's not great. I
Mm-hmm.
guess like I'm not seeing dig scroll, I'm not seeing priest, which both would be like priest round one is extremely valuable,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if you can imagine probably swarmlings like trying to get a priest action and putting it to water so that they can get their priest production up and just start putting more priests to the cult.
Yeah, of course.
Um, so I'm wondering if swarmlings are going to, they might go for the priest before double dig, so there's a chance that halflings get it even in C4. Is that possible?
That halflings get double dig in seat four. Is that what you're
Yeah, what do
wondering?
you think?
I mean, that looks really
Yeah,
great.
because
Starting on worker power and getting to open double dig as brown on this map is really good because you just get an easy temple for dwelling opening, which is incredibly strong. Um,
oh, and I forgot. Like I'm kind of just thinking of this as base map, but this is revised
this is
base,
revised
and
base.
Simone B was saying witches on revised base are just so strong, and we can see that the bidding has really reflected that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's talk
Although
about
it,
that just a little bit, like the main differences between base and revised base. Like who here is uh is benefited by the fact that this is revised base and not base, and who here doesn't like that? So you're saying witches are better on revised base than on the base map?
yes, and I think it's because of the two green blue greens that we see, like single dig for one dig for two hexes is
Sure.
in two different locations that are really close to each other. Like that's just killer.
Right. I'm just making these markings on screen so people can see them, but it's sort of this C3 to E7 stretch, and then in the north and in the northeast there's another part where we see that.
I think blue also does really well because of the southeast, southwest.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That makes
Turning
sense.
on hexes.
Um, I've heard in chat, so people in chat are saying that they really don't like swarmlings. Who was it that said, "Oh, Superstar"? And he says, "I'm not touching swarmlings even if someone paid me." And then George sort of, yeah, responded in agreement there. Why do you
Hmm.
see swarmlings as being so bad in the setup?
Honestly, I don't.
Okay, interesting.
But maybe it's like the lack of the big building tile. Like they really depend on that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see. I mean, yellow's in, blue is happy to just hang out in like in the west. And probably go for like 3 towns. I don't see. Oh yeah, and landscapes are on.
Landscapes are on, so swarmlings might be able to hit two towns in round six, uh, which just sort of, I mean, witches will try to do better than that. Probably so will nomads. Halflings probably can tee up a couple towns in round six if they want to. So it kind of makes them on par with halflings there. The lack of the two worker tile seems annoying. The track is arguably not great for them otherwise.
Yeah, so I'm guessing like this yeah, wow, there's so much to consider because nobody like we're not used to revised base and then I always forget the extra.
Well, oh,
scoring.
that's
So
the thing.
like,
The extra scoring. So right away, Swarmlings are often nerfed on, like, they don't do very well on network unless you play a big network game and do some sort of slightly unorthodox stuff and you fight for network. But if Swarmlings play a sort of standard, I'm going to go and build a town in the east, and then I'm going to do something in the west and get two towns with a landscape down in the west. That's a standard Swarmlings game. You're punting network because you're not connected, and that means you're punting now both endgame scoring conditions. I mean, not the
I
cults,
don't think I
obviously.
would go in the east if I were Swarmlings. I think that maybe you can.
So you would try to connect here. Would you consider like a D2 D5 thing so that you would make D5 into a town somehow with a bridge and then have a chance to actually connect your structures later and try to still play for some of that end game
Um,
scoring? Like, is that the response?
that's pretty tricky with nomads. You would prefer D5 to H2?
Not necessarily. Um,
Like how far apart can you build? So like your stronghold will have to be D5, D2, or H2. So then can you build your sanctuary
mm-hmm.
like far enough away to make it worth it?
Yeah,
Hmm.
probably not. So I think the takeaway from this is Swarmlings either don't try to fight for network and Fire and Ice endgame scoring. So like they don't try, they punt them both, or they
Hmm.
don't. They make their game a little bit more awkward than usual, and then they might connect in the end, and then they just don't do a very good job of either of them. So I mean, I think that's a concern with Swarmlings. Is it looks like there's just like a lot of points at the end of the game that they don't really have much access to,
Hmm.
and the two worker tile's not in. Um,
Yeah, now let's look at halflings. So probably the standard F5 E6 start. Oh.
uh, oh, talking about halflings.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna mark this up as we talk through them. So you said E6 and F5 for halflings, which
I would
seem
expect,
which seems
yes.
pretty standard. If they get worker power and they get double dig, then they just get that nice black hex in the east, and so they can go Temple 4 dwellings, which is lovely. Witches are going to be on E9 at
Oh,
some point.
I remember now. I've actually had like I think if yellow potentially starts G4,
Uh huh.
it can make double dig really awkward for halflings because you
That's
have to turn
true.
something brown right next to yellow.
It's the usual thing that halflings deal with darklings, right? Like normally you
Exactly,
deal with
yeah.
that. Well, on base map it's a little different here, but when is that you can't leave something open in front of them.
But if nomads decide not to start G4, then halflings can start Temple 3 dwellings, which is
Mm-hmm.
pretty sweet.
Still pretty fine. I guess a question I have is, and this is a bit of my like lack of familiarity with this map, but where do nomads normally start? Because two of nomads on base map, two of their hexes are kind of almost always hexes. The sort of D3 F3, which on base map F3 is a yellow hex.
Hmm.
And then you have another dwelling that you sort of play with. You can get some extra leech or interrupt someone, whatever makes sense. But here, you don't start D3 and E5, right? Like one of your dwellings goes on one of the three yellows in the west,
Yeah.
and now you have two to figure out. Like, is E8 and G4, E8, B4, like, or do you in some setups actually put two dwellings over there? Like, that's one thing that I don't actually know with nomads on this map.
Yeah. I know that you definitely want to start D3 because of the swarmling starting
Sure.
D2. And if you don't start E5, then halflings dig it, don't they? All right, well, actually, let's talk through the rest of the scrolls. So
Okay.
halflings would start worker power,
Mm-hmm.
witches, and tempship.
Are they taking
Is that
tempship
right?
or 4 coins and a cult step? This is one of those funny setups where, again, we're missing the spade, we're missing two workers, and we're missing the priest. So those are three of the sort of 4 to 5 important opening scrolls. So this is gonna be one of those games where a lot of factions aren't getting that great of a pass tile to start with.
Mm.
Um, so what can witches do on tempship on this map? That's interesting. Doesn't
Well, if they get blocked from digs, is that possible?
maybe they take a priest and do two ship. and then they can do some stuff.
Right, because you thinking they're starting E9.
Yeah, E9, E7, they can two ship to B5, and then the next round they have access to like digging A10 and 11. Like it's sort of a nice backup to getting spade blocked is that you just sort of take the priest. Right? I mean, I think if as long as swarmlings don't start on D5, I think witches are pretty happy with single spade and just getting O2 dwellings. That's fine. You know, and if they can do that on four coins in a cult step, like that's not too bad, right? I think as witches here, I would consider as long as swarmlings don't start on D5, just sort of my preference here is just to take 4 coins in a cult step probably, and then just open single spade if I get some leech, you know.
And you don't expect. Do you think swarmlings then take tempship? Because if nomads take tempship,
then what?
you might. I guess then they just build the 2 D3 B2 kind
Yeah,
of
I think
thing.
nomads would love tempship coming to them.
True.
So one of these things where halflings take worker power, witches take 4 coins in a cult step, or 6 coins, I don't know, and then do swarmlings just want double dig as their opening, so they might as well take the 3 power tile that annoys nomads as opposed to ship BP, and then nomads get some coins in first seat. Otherwise, it goes worker power, witches and swarmlings just both take some coins, and nomads just get tempship in first seat, which seems pretty amazing for them. It's
But we already think that they might be starting D3 E5. Is that
No, I don't think so. I don't think you start D3 E5. Well, I don't know. I guess your point is that
where do they go?
if you don't start on E5, then halflings dig it from you. If you do start on E5 and you can't ship up to D3, then it's just kind of lame because swarmlings are going to be over there developing, and you want that leech.
Okay, so if not E5, then where? E8, B4?
Probably E8 for the witch's leech, and then somewhere in the west, and then G4. I don't really know. For more
Yeah.
leech into annoy
So
halflings.
remember, like on base map, connection for nomads is really easy. Like 2 ship,
Yes.
and oftentimes even just 1 ship. Is that right? But like on this map, it's a little bit trickier if you start E8 because halflings are getting G2, right?
Sorry, say that again. Halflings are getting what?
Halflings are taking G2. So then I guess they just connect north nomads.
Yeah, I guess so.
So we're thinking D3, B4, E8.
Say those numbers again.
Sorry, D3, E8, B4.
I don't know. Maybe, but I like. Yes, that makes sense. But then the problem with that is halflings probably do just I don't know dig E5 if they ever get access to double dig, and that just seems too strong for them. I saw a comment in chat by Matt G. Johnson, D3 E5 to who cares? If I'm interpreting that comment correctly, it's that I'm a bit guilty, and you to some degree, of fussing over making sure your 3 dwellings are in 3 different places, and they're just saying who cares? Just take D3 and E5.
Just put them D3, 5.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
just do
think
it.
that
Just
I would probably do D3, E5, and then E8 for the leech. Because I'm guessing like B4 seems pretty safe for a long time, right? Halflings are going to try to go south, nomads go north.
Okay. AJ is saying on revised, you often end up taking 2 of the yellow triangle. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. It just makes that triangle a lot like it looks really good, right? But it's just a lot less good than it looks if you have to start on 2 of them. And it's probably one of those things that in really amazing Nomads games, you can get away with starting on only 1 and securing the other 2 or something. And that you just maybe can't afford to do that here. So you start on D3, E5, and then E8, B4. I don't really know. You're right that connection does become tricky.
Okay, so now Swarmlings as pretty much the only cult faction.
Yes.
Is what is this? 26 less, or witches are 26 behind Swarmlings already. I
Yeah.
don't know.
It
Seems a lot.
the bidding does seem a lot, and people have noted this before, but I think that the starting price at 40 does play slight psychological games with some people. I expect with this table, they're obviously fully aware of what they're doing, but just for the benefit of the viewers, just play a little experiment with you. If this was a 30-point auction, we're looking at 6-point nomads, 4-point witches, and 30-point swarmlings. And maybe that's correct because it is a fire and ice endgame scoring on, and so that often does increase the bids between factions, right? If there's just like, again, I've sort of talked about this early on, I think there may very well just be like 2 whole sets of endgame scoring points that swarmlings just don't really have good access to. But so maybe it is correct, but that is what we're seeing here, and it's pretty intense. Who do you like here? Who do you think's the best price? Like, I kind of like halflings here.
I think I would say halflings.
I mean, they get a good pass tile. They probably just, I mean, I guess halflings game goes kind of annoying if they don't get a spade in round 1 at all. If they get just spade blocked, it's kind of annoying. But even
it's very annoying.
Like, as long as they get single spade, they just have a good opening.
Yeah, and maybe then they just open 2 temple kind of thing.
Yeah. And they probably just get their sanctuary town in the center.
Okay, let's think about leech. So we've got brown, green, yellow. So brown and green in the center are probably going to get most leech. Is that? Oh, I guess it depends on swarmlings.
Yeah, I'm marking out the starting spots here. So I've gotten 2 down for nomads, D3 and E5. I've got E6 and F5 for halflings. I have E7 and E9 for witches. D2 swarmlings. I think I'm pretty confident with this. Where I don't know is swarmling second dwelling spot and nomad's third. Anyone in chat or Jekyll, do you want to take a crack at that?
All right, what was the question?
I know you can't see my screen, but I've just marked up with my little pen the starting spots of all the factions, except for I don't know where Swarmling's second starting spot is outside of D2. And I don't know where Nomad's third dwelling is, assuming we take AJ's word for it and say it's a D2 E5 start for them. Maybe it's E8.
Yeah, so I guess we're going to have like yellow and blue fleeting each other in the west, and we'll have brown and green in the center.
Yep, I guess so.
So yeah, I mean, I would probably take swarmlings now.
Wait, the other way this goes wrong for halflings is halflings takes worker power. Okay, so someone did take swarmlings. We didn't talk about this. Do swarmlings take one of the 3 power tiles and start on G6 and dig G5 from an F5 halflings? G6. Right? They just start on G6. They take ship VP or temp ship or something. They just open double dig, and they just dig G5 with one of their spades.
Okay, so H2. Interesting.
H2 for the first dwelling. Okay. What's with that witch's placement? Oh,
they probably want temp ship. Oh my gosh.
Or was that dwelling placement just assuming swarmlings were going to do the annoying thing and go on D5, and Matt saying, I still want a spot that I can single spade and get out 2 dwellings in round 1, and I'll get down to E9 later.
Yeah, I mean, E9's going to be waiting for them.
E9's waiting for them, yeah.
You don't think they take temp ship?
And buy a priest? Oh, I see. They can
just go A11 G3.
Yeah. They can just that totally. I didn't see that. That totally works. They can just take temp ship. They don't need to use their power for anything. Okay. Do Swarmlings take 3 power here? No, he just goes 6 coins. Good man.
All right, so halflings are getting double dig.
Halflings are getting double. Yeah, wow.
They get temple 3 dwellings, starting at basically 16 points. Yeah.
So this is going to be double dig coming from halflings. They can't afford to upgrade, otherwise they give it to witches. And then presumably this is F3, and then we'll see a dwelling build on F3. This looks nice from
Oh
halflings. I
man.
mean, they're getting a neighbor
This
there
looks
eventually. I mean, it's a little sad right now. They're all lonely, but
this is really not great for nomads. Like they were really counting on lots of leech and good neighbors in the west.
so he's getting his ship start, and so he just is going to go temple 2 dwellings on shipping. That's pretty tidy. But yeah, where are swarmlings to help them out?
Okay, so I guess swarmlings. Oh man. Which is starting B5 means they want their town going kind of in the westerly direction.
Say that again. Witches starting on B5 means what?
Means they're going to be like bridging towards like B3.
Bridging
Right?
towards B3?
Or you think they're going to go for C4?
Oh, swarmlings. Sorry, I thought you meant witches. I
Yeah,
see.
swarmlings.
Right. Yes, I think that's definitely what it means. Yep. We do see the first temple coming in, so we can play the favor tile game. I don't really know. This track doesn't really say, like, this is one of those tracks where you can't take a temple in round 1 and try to get a spade or anything fun in the first couple rounds. It's kind of like, oh, he's just taking Earth 1. Okay. It's an early
Just
favor
Earth
tile.
1.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know.
I wonder if there will be any double temple. Oh, nomads took priest.
Yeah, Nomad's open priest because he wanted the shipping start.
Oh, right. And he's on the cold step. Okay, so he'll get to the 4-step water.
Oh, I think the priest is meant for shipping.
Oh, my bad. I get it.
Now they can take water too, and we'll have a very happy George Shortwell, and you could water too with that temple and cult step yourself and get a priest in 20 minutes from now. Um, that would be worth it, right, George? Maybe. Actually, could be cool.
Possibly. I mean,
Possibly.
this water call is very
It's a nice water cult.
lucrative. It's going to keep giving returns, given that, it's going to keep feeding you priests and you can that to earth and I don't know. It's a very valuable cult.
Earth 1 seems a little unambitious for witches, says Zorus. Uh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I guess like the kind of rule of thumb is that, witches with round 6 towns, also the extra scoring means
Yeah.
like investing in economy is usually worth it.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard a lot of people say that like opening it, like making as much of an economic opening, is just that much more important with Fire and Ice endgame scoring, right? Because there's just that many more points in the game that economy can turn into. You layer on top of that a round 6 town game for witches, like you know, and the track itself isn't bad. Like round 4 TPs, yeah, round 5 big buildings is kind of awkward, but like I don't know, there's 3 points past tiles in the game, round 6 towns, and an extra, bunch of points in endgame scoring. There seems to be lots of points here. Um, yeah, I don't know. What I will
So with
say,
witches,
sorry, go ahead.
um, I'm just wondering how valuable is tempship for next round? Just because next round is a dwelling round. Who's gonna be able to get out a lot of dwellings?
Um, not halflings.
Yeah, not halflings. Swarmlings could. They can double dig. I'm
Swarmlings.
guessing they're the ones to get double dig next
Right,
round.
because so far we've seen double dig from halflings, a priest from nomads, witches and swarmlings have not used their power, um, and it looks like neither
Oh,
will. Well, someone might take a
but
coins action or something. Uh, Deep finesse has one more turn if he doesn't take a coins action because he wants a temple here. We see
mm,
another favor pull here. We got Earth One. I heard someone use that lingo the other day. I'm going to start using it maybe and see how I feel about it. A
favorable.
favor pull. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Actually, was it Fickles who said that? Someone said it. I'm uncertain how I feel about it, but I'm going to try it out for a bit.
Oh man, Earth One Swarmlings.
Okay.
Hmm. Okay. I mean, two ship.
You and I both just looked at the game state and we're like, okay. Not sure how much that means to viewers, but I share the sentiment.
All he needs is one ship, right? And then he can, if he digs F2, C3.
Okay, Deep Finesse passed first, has the power for double dig, and we'll just dig C3 and I2.
Yeah. Yes,
And
but like as far as connection goes, it's actually pretty easy because I mean we're not expecting nomads to be building their stronghold anytime soon, right? So E4 will stay open for them for a while.
yeah, absolutely.
And all he needs is to dig, he needs just one ship, right? Dig F2, build F2 E4, and
I see.
C3 will already be built, and then he'll be already, with three ship
Yeah,
already
just
connected.
which Swarmlings are pretty happy to just advance ship a bunch in the last round for points and stuff. Maybe get on ship VP once. Yeah, I see why you were mentioning digging F2. Sorry, I thought you meant immediately next round, but you were looking at Swarmling's network path. Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
makes a lot of sense. And we see Swarmlings, unless we see a second temple from Swarmlings later this game. I don't think we're going to see a further away temple from the D5 stronghold than H2. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is I think we see the distance for Swarmlings already for their, like, I think that's kind of locked in. Would you agree? Like, there's a future sanctuary on H2. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So deep.
Yeah, could he have started I1? Was that
That's
risky at all? Like, I
a
feel
good
like if he's
point.
going to build his sanctuary H2, like, might as well build it I1. It's the same thing, except he will, the F2, like, that path is, like, easier to, like, for it to happen if he starts on H2. But, like, I just think that that seems very safe, the
That's a
F2
good
path.
point. Chat weigh in on that. Like, I mean, I guess there's always a chance of like witches starting on F2 or something and digging down there. I don't
Mm.
know. Probably. I mean, it's pretty edge cases. I'm trying to think outside the box here to contest your point, but no, I think you're spot on, Jekyll. Like, other than it looking very awkward, I think was I1 just correct here. Deranged, I think it's wheeled. People in chat say wheel, like on a car. I'm pretty sure one wields something, like a sword. Anyhow, that's not important, but
I think we've had this
yeah, I have this
debate
discussion on
before.
almost every stream. Yeah. Um, okay, so we see Earth 2 from Halflings, which makes a lot of sense. Halflings like workers, and there are lots of coins in the game. Uh, no, I think that's what people think it is, deranged. Absolutely, that like wheel as in everything goes in a circle and comes back around. That's certainly a correct like description of the uh, of how people are using that term. I think it's wrong.
Oh, I think it's a verb. It's wield. It's a verb.
Yeah, one wields something, but isn't it with a D?
Yes.
Like, I'm not going to
Wheel is
dictionary.
not
I'm not going to
used
cover up this.
as a verb.
Pardon, wield isn't.
A wheel, like the circle thing, is not
Getting
used
my
as a verb.
yeah, one wield something. I wielded. I don't know. Does one wielded in English? Wield a sword. Uh,
That is how I normally hear that.
yeah, to wield, to handle or use a weapon, tool, etc. To wield a sword. W-I-E-L-D. Anyhow, I promise I will not talk about this anymore this stream. I'm done. Uh,
Amazing. 3 Earth 1s gone already.
so Swarmlings are taking double dig. I think Terra Steel did make an excellent point. Is that if Swarmlings opened double dig, that they lose the first priest to water.
Mm.
And so then who takes that?
Where did...
Hey,
Oh,
thanks for the
very
follow, Emirates.
interesting.
Appreciate it.
So I would have thought, no, I wonder if nomads should have put their cult step on
Water?
water.
Yeah, I was just trying to think about that because, to be perfectly honest, it isn't that like interesting to send the first priest to water. Like Swarmlings don't because they double dig. So then it goes to witches. Well, I think witches just send their priest to earth. And then so it goes to halflings, and halflings send it to water just to annoy swarmlings, or do they just send it on a 2 spot on Earth for 2 power and 2 more coins? You know what I mean? Like, do swarmlings just get the priest to water on their second move
Would
for
be
reasons?
that would be just
It would be
finesse,
classic deep finesse. Yeah,
getting everything and the cake
exactly.
and
Yeah, deep finesse will get double dig here, and then the priest to water, and workers will come back to him, and he'll build 3 dwellings or something stupid. Um,
right. Like let's see, what else do we? Oh, I guess swarmlings just get key town, get a bunch of dwellings in the dwelling round. Yeah, I think
Okay. Those coins from witches. Um,
oh man, wait. How did Okay, so nomads are passing last.
yeah.
Pass last round, okay. Mm.
Visigoa really wanted that coins action. I don't think Matt the
Or
Lesser.
he really wanted that cult coins pass scroll.
Yeah. What is Visigoa doing with the temp ship here?
I think he just took it for
Power?
just for the power. This might be a fast round for him.
Yeah, I don't know. Does he send? Does he upgrade ship to 2 and build a dwelling on H3? Like I don't really know.
That's possible.
I mean, it's kind of under. Okay, no, he just sends. Oh no, of course the priest to Earth is still open. That seems pretty good. It's a little awkward. Maybe he just takes single spade and gets a dwelling down. Um,
How often do you try to avoid, like, do you ever hard dig as halflings?
um, I can't recall ever doing so, so I guess no. It seems yeah, it seems bad. Uh, I've panic hard dug as alchemists in an arena game on a lakes once, and Terra Steel made fun of me endlessly for it. Um, no, I don't. Yeah,
He really wants to get, I wonder if he doesn't just like early pass and save his
power for
workers for next round.
save power for double dig in the dig round, or just buy a priest, pass on to the 5 coins and buy a priest and just do a start, upgrade digs twice. Like, he might just go
Buy a
for a round 3
priest.
dig advance, right? Like, you could just buy a priest, pass on to coins, and just upgrade your digging and just dig a bunch of stuff in round 3.
Yeah, I mean, G2, H8, those are both like waiting to be dug.
G2 and what? H8?
H8, the other red.
Yeah, yeah, or even G6. Same deal, slightly more annoying too.
Okay, he's taking priest now.
Mm-hmm.
That way, if he takes priest now, he doesn't have to do it next round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would hope I would try it for an early pass here.
I think so. Yeah.
You can dig. Let's see. So
I
3, 4,
I think
5.
probably 5 coins, right, Deranged? It's a good question. And it's kind of 6 coins because he can bump Earth next round for 2 power and a cult coin. I think probably the 5 coins in the cult step is the way to go. Worker power gets you the coins power action. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know then.
I think I would rather cult coins and just put my cult bump on Earth and
Well,
I don't know.
yeah, the cult coins gives you 2 power, which is a coin and a cult coin. So it's sort of 7 coins versus worker power, which gives you a coin action. So it's 5.5 coins and a worker. Yeah, so maybe worker power is correct. Coin's power action is only worth 3 coins. Yeah, plus the 3 power and the coin on it. I think I did that math correctly. But yeah, I mean this looks fine.
Oh, and Matt the Lesser has already passed. Wow, I've barely paid any.
Oh,
What?
okay. Yeah, I think he passed when I was arguing about English verbs. Not doing my job here.
So witches can't double dig. Who will get double dig? Oh my gosh, will it be Swarmlings again?
Of course. Why wouldn't Deep Finesse just get...
Oh my gosh, is he gonna pass on to Tempship and then he could just dig B3, F2?
Maybe, or just 6 coins? I mean, maybe, like, what
Oh
else is
yeah. Oh
Astari
yeah.
doing this
He
round?
doesn't have a lot.
Oh, Astari has 2 ship, right? So Astari's building a dwelling on G4.
Wow.
Astari is a cool game here.
Yeah, 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 and he's sitting on dwelling
Yeah,
role.
absolutely.
Oh my gosh. And not only that, he has 2 ship.
Yeah,
He can take G2
G4.
next round.
G2. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yep, that's true.
And then he'll be connected.
Yep.
Oh.
I mean, he can connect through the north easy enough as well.
But then he's like really getting in Halfling's way.
It's true. I mean, the one backup is that halflings can also take D4 for their town and then try to connect through the north still, possibly. Yeah.
Yeah, with what priest though? Like
This is
I
really
think they're
nice from
using
Astari to pass. After building a bunch of dwellings, you just get to pass on that 6 coin tile. That is very nice. What did witches
because
do round
he's
2? Is being asked in chat. Do you recall, Jekyll? Nothing, maybe?
um did he take coins and that's it?
What did he do with his priest? He upgraded shipping. Did he upgrade shipping last round? He would have had a priest, and he didn't send it to cult, so he
He's
took...
on 1 ship. He's
Yeah.
gonna take he's gonna upgrade ship again. Oh, E9, I6.
Yep. So I think last round it was a ship advance and a coins action pass on to ship VP. So yeah, Matt's going ship 2, E9, I6, probably a hard dig on...
E1, F2. He might be trying to get to
Oh,
the
yeah.
west distance.
Mm-hmm. Can he get to F2 before Swarmlings take that hex? I mean, I'm not sure that
No.
Swarmlings care. What? No.
Oh, I would think not. I'm surprised that Defines didn't just take Tempship. right?
Yeah. So why did he take the extra worker? Like
It
he.
gets him to like 4 workers.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's just going to. No, he can't really afford to upgrade
Well,
ship
it's
twice.
2 dwellings. I mean, he can just dig F2 and build another dwelling on I1 or something. It was the extra worker for a second dwelling somewhere.
Hmm. Right? E4.
Yeah. I don't know where his spades go, but I think our Swarmling's trying to upgrade. Well, is there enough coins for a ship upgrade, a double dig, and 2 dwellings?
That's why I would have liked him ship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's 2 coin slash pull 3 power short of that whole sequence. Upgrade ship, double dig, and um, 2 dwellings.
Well, let's see. I mean, double dig will wait for him for a while.
Yeah.
Actually, besides nomads, nobody wants to double dig for like the rest of the game.
Priest of Fire. So Deep Finesse just scoops up the last 3 spot. There's the ship advance from Witches. So Nomads and Witches both being at 2 ship here. Okay, and we do see the first dig advance from Halflings. So Halflings will take one of those red hexes in the center.
Right.
And Halflings, of course, also don't have ship, right? And they don't have resources to also ship and get down dwellings and stuff. So
I kind of often find that like halflings and nomads, like nomads often, I mean, base map is different, but they often don't need to upgrade ship for like a long time, and I feel like that's like a big benefit.
mm-hmm. Yep.
We see a hard dig from Istari on like one of the reds.
Oh. Well, I don't know. It's not that good for them, and it's not that annoying to Halflings if they only take one.
Okay, so you think they're just going to try to like start working on some towns in the north kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. Um, I don't know. I don't know what that means they dig. Like,
I kind of think like G2 is nice also because it gets you
whoa.
I7. Holy.
That's an option. Um, okay.
I mean, the dig round is the time to do it, but a 9 worker dig?
A 9 worker dig to block your ability to get a neighbor and shut down Swarmlings' ability to compete with you as network when you're nomads and they're Swarmlings.
I mean, this is deep finesse on Swarmlings, and so far it's been just coasting.
Wow. Matt G. Johnson says, I wanted to suggest this, but was afraid you would all make fun of me. Hard
Our
Diggler.
Diggler said this.
Hard Diggler would have done a triple dig and a dig round. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, he'll still get neighbor, like especially if he thinks witches are coming to F2.
I don't know. Maybe are they? Like, I guess I've built a town over there in the west. Maybe this is one of those things where if witches could just get over to F2, then they can just build a town over there. We did it with Orin in a game recently.
Like, you're kind of hoping that nomads come to E2.
Oh, yeah, you'd be desperately hoping that that would be the case. Yeah. Which is not obvious. Right. So I don't know.
Seems like a whole lot safer to just go work on your towns that are already existing. Like dig F4. get to E9, start working on your towns over there. I don't think like going to F2. Oh, unless it's oh okay, I forgot about distance.
Now I also don't know if like how much this is just one of those plays of like, one player is perceived of having a lot of good breaks and everything is working in their direction, and so we need to sort of create some equality at the table. I don't
It's a
tend to.
huge cost that
It
nomads
is.
bore the burden of all by themselves.
And I just don't tend to play Terra Mystica like that in general. Like, I don't say, like, oh, so and so's had a good game. Jekyll's gotten all the breaks. I'll do something kind of awkward on my game to sort of bring her down a bit. Like, I don't know. I hear people, I hear casters talk about that, and streamers and stuff. Players in table chat talk about that. It's just not something that's very much on my radar to think in those terms. But I guess I just wonder how much this move was that Astari says, oh, this isn't great for me, but I need to do something about swarmlings. But in any case, the move that we just saw, which is interesting, less controversial, but is swarmlings didn't upgrade ship and they just double dug H3. We'll never know if, well, I guess maybe we can ask Deep Finesse after the game at some point, but whether he was intending always to double dig H3, and that's why worker power and not temp ship was the pass tile he chose, or whether H3 was sort of a pivot based on Astari's move.
What I have seen of Deep Finesse play, he he always does really well with this extra scoring. Like he finds a way, and I feel like yeah, I don't know. I feel like he should have taken Tempship and oh, but I guess like even if he goes north and takes F2, like Star still takes E4, huh? Gosh.
Deranged is saying one underrated way that this hurts Deep Finesse. He's forced to town here. He had a choice not to town yet and push till round 6. Interesting. I mean, couldn't have Deep Finesse just upgraded his trading post on C3 though? I suppose. I guess he can't do that forever. He will inevitably now town in the southwest if that's what Deranged is getting to before round 6.
I mean, the rewards are pretty good. I
It's
feel
true.
like
Towning this round means you're getting 2 coins and a worker for sure, and maybe it's the
towning the
difference
oh
between a
yeah, he is
spade
towning.
that you wouldn't otherwise get. The earlier 3 workers are good. Yeah. So maybe there was always
Yeah.
a town before round 6.
Um I'm not one of those people that know these things like off the top of my head. How many structures do you actually need to get not a mega town, but like the what you call it, an extended town, like a two town, for swarmlings.
For Swarmlings, well,
Many structures. Like if
I mean,
he
it
gets
depends.
G1 I3, can he
Oh, I see. How few
can he
structures?
get
How few
yeah, what
structures
is
is
the
a better
fewest
exercise?
number of structures?
Well, it assumes that, I mean, his stronghold can't be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but his sanctuary will be, let's assume. And with fire too, let's say. So we need 12 points of structure. He could even put
Like
his
one of them is going
landscape
to
elsewhere.
be
Well,
the
he
landscape.
could even put his landscape elsewhere. The landscape doesn't. Oh no, the landscape does need to be part of
No,
the
yeah.
town, of course. Which sort of makes the sanctuary a wash. So that means all your structures are on average 2 points per structure, if you want to think about it like that. So it's six hexes, right? You'd have a sanctuary and a landscape for 4 points of structure, and then the other 2 are trading posts and temples.
Okay, so he can manage like two towns here.
Yeah, I3. Yep, I3 and
Uh,
I1 is 2 towns down there with so the landscape is on I3. The sanctuary is H2, and then everything else down there is temples and trading posts. And someone in chat can call me out if what I just said is false. Matchy Johnson is saying the math trick is every structure is size 2, and then add 1. The landscape cancels 1 big building. Right? Yeah. Cool.
okay, yep. Okay.
This is a huge break for witches. What did I miss here? What, that they got G1?
What is the break here? Is it because, with Astari building E4, now Finesse is not motivated at all to take F2? Is that what he's talking about? Okay, yeah.
So so we just saw D4. Who dug D4 to yellow? Okay. Okay, that was halflings. Halflings. Oh, I see. Okay. Sorry. It's a little confused there. D4 was yellow. Why was it yellow? Nomads have no workers, so BC Goa actually dug D4 to yellow and now converted it to brown and secured it. So he slow played that for some reason and has no clock left.
Am I the only one that thinks that like it's a little awkward for witches to be like coming west here? Like I understand they want their distance. Like now are they building like a town in the west here?
Yeah, I mean this distance is only going to help if he's moving his
They
temple.
build one of their yeah, if they are putting one of their big buildings in the west here.
Right. So like next round he wants to build a trading post that's going to become a temple and that's going to become a round 5 sanctuary or something. And then their stronghold is on B5 because that's where they have a neighbor. But like I don't know where he's getting a neighbor for a temple in the west.
Oh, you know what? It's funny. I always think of witches as doing like the black, gray, and the two greens, but it's actually the same number of digs to just do the red and the blue. E3, D2, D1. So if they can double dig E3 before nomads,
That is
looking
super
pretty good, right?
interesting. I also don't think I ever clued into that. Mainly because those hexes are usually never open, probably also. But yes,
Mm-hmm.
there's a visual thing that the E1 F1 seems much more witches territory than these hexes, the E3 D2. That's interesting. Okay. So they either double dig E3 from Nomads and Nomads lets them have it, or Nomads takes it and then Witches has a neighbor anyhow.
Mm-hmm. And what they build there's stronghold over here.
Um, oh yeah, I guess so. And then sorry, their future temple location for their future sanctuary location is B5 then, and it's their stronghold that's in the west, like on D2.
Five.
Well, E3 is probably just as far away.
Hmm.
I guess. Yeah. And then if E7 isn't a sanctuary, Matt wants F4 and H4. So that can be a non-SA town. Okay. Someone early, we haven't talked about F4. Someone quite a while up the chat did mention someone better take F4 or whatever. I mean, Jekyll, I think you might even point it out as well on chat here, or yourself. But anyhow,
Okay,
we
so
see that going.
Bisigoa has dug it, and now he's guaranteed himself connection. Three ship.
Yeah, I wish I would have talked about this a little bit earlier. I don't really know why Matt left that open. I mean, it's nice to dig G1 because it opens up another green this round, which is better by a worker production. And maybe Swarmlings, I guess, could have double dug G1 on you before you could have, but I don't think so. Uh, I guess what I'm saying is I don't really see why Matt didn't just dig F4 this round.
Yes, I kind of agree. I think that like working on the towns that he has kind of roughly sketched
Uh
out
huh.
is probably the way I would have gone, but
Yep.
oh wow, okay.
So I saw earlier in chat someone made a reference that like I think if I'm interpreting the subtext of the comment correctly, that sort of Astari was in the lead. Someone said something like, "Who's doing better than Astari?"
Mm.
We haven't really talked about that, and I'll ask you in a second, Jekyll. But I just want to throw it out to chat right now. Like who do you folks think's in the lead, and who do you think's last? Like rank them out for us a little bit. I'm curious to get some sort of feedback here. But Jekyll, yeah, who do you think's in the lead here as well? BC Goa.
I don't
First
know.
vote.
Like this G6 dig, like maybe witches weren't gonna come anyway, but like I think he wants some neighbor. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think witches also like okay, maybe they've committed to this western town. He may have just like gone G1 F2 just to get like the dwellings out and he's not actually going to do a town in the west. But like feel like Bichigoa could have left G6 open for witches and hope that they want to come down neighbor for like bigger distance, all of that. I'm saying
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see
like
that.
G6 and H8 were the same for him, no matter
Yes.
like either way.
Yep.
Okay. Um,
Hmm.
what do we think about witches? Do they look? I mean, given that like how low they were bid the lowest, right? I don't think this game has on the way they would have hoped.
I don't think so. They didn't have a great opening, um, and they didn't have a great opening. Swarmlink started on D5. They didn't secure F4 slash Halflings dug it from them. So I don't know if you want to consider that a misplay on their end and or a bad break. But I think the opening wasn't great. I think a couple bad things happened, and I think they made an error. You know what I mean?
I mean, not getting F4.
Not getting F4, yeah, is I think is less of a bad break because of Halflings and more just they didn't secure that hex when they probably should have. Um, I think Swarmlink starting on D5 was fairly annoying. And I'm not sure that you would expect them to start there. I mean, it seems fine. It made sense at the time. Prior to our E4 dig from Nomads, like that whole sequence, as you and I were talking about it earlier on in the stream, like we'd sort of figured out a game plan for Swarmlings, made a lot of sense. But I don't know if witches were expecting that to happen. So I think there's certainly versions of this game where witches just get that stretch of D5 C3. So um,
Question is, who is going to build? Is anybody taking water one here? Like nomads are sitting on TP scroll, probably just building as many TPs as they can.
I think so. They're not rich enough to go TP and then
Mm.
all those trading posts, so it probably not. The only trick to that is, do they have enough neighbors? And they do. They have 3. They're not in great places, but
Mm-hmm.
oh, probably what nomads do is, yeah, they just build 3 trading posts, and then next round they sanctuary for Air 1, and one of those trading posts becomes a stronghold.
And now they're so this is like a 2-town nomads game, hopefully.
Yeah, I think it's a 2-town nomads game. I mean, he does a trading post on B4. That probably becomes the stronghold. It seems safer than trying
E4.
to dig around halflings in the southeast. Like, so B4 becomes a stronghold. They sandstorm 2 of those expensive hexes up there. Hard dig something. You know. So I think there's a town in the north for them with a stronghold. I think there's a sanctuary on E5, and I think their stronghold sanctuary distance is poor. But it will be better than Swarmlings.
Right.
It'll be 6 points, probably. I mean, I don't really know, though. I mean, we're talking about witches are kind of in a tough spot. Do they still have the fuel to actually try to build a sanctuary in the west and a stronghold in the east, or vice versa. However,
Oh, I mean, the other thing is landscapes are on,
yeah,
you know, witches do want a second temple somewhere.
probably.
Maybe their sanctuary, I'm guessing like okay, so if I'm looking for town locations, given that the center town is gone now, I think maybe B5, A10, A11 can be a sanctuary town, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Then and then probably try for the western town. Like just give up on the east.
Give up on the east,
Yeah.
except for that
Nine,
trade.
F6.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, they're just,
is that trading
yeah, why
post
did
on
they build that?
E9 just? He's just building. He's not taking water one. He's just building trading posts this round, and he doesn't have that many neighbors. So one's going on E9, one's going on B5. Heck, maybe even one's going on G1. Or is that
Okay, I think
E9
I
a
think
feature
that I
something?
would have built started on B5, built a temple. This is just me. I would have built for water one. I would have built a temple for water one and then uh
Hmm.
try to hard dig my landscape down.
Yeah, I think so too. It seems expensive, but if you want a sanctuary up there, it needs to be a temple first. And at this point, what else are you taking? Um,
Oh man, that is really expensive.
so
And
we did just miss this that BC Goa got coins. Is that what just happened?
well, that's
Wait,
lucky.
yeah. Right.
It's because everybody's power situation. Oh,
I guess
Swarm Leagues could
so.
have, but they didn't want it. What do they want?
Water one.
Oh, I see. He didn't have water one yet.
There were some trading
Right.
posts up and perceived water one rush. Ghostly saying these witches' towns look like Gaia Project. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's a good
Is
point.
there like is there no way for Finesse to connect?
I mean, is there a way?
I guess he really shouldn't invest anything
No.
in like a pipe dream that could easily be dashed by
I mean,
nomads.
technically there is a way, yes, on 3-ship and infinity digs or something, but I don't. No.
Oh, okay. You mean like the south path?
Yeah, so I mean, he'd need to take H4 and H5, and then he'd need to 3-ship to D6. Like, that seems insane. The other option is he digs B3, and then A5, and then digs A4, and then digs down the west. So I think, like, no. Swarmlings can connect through H5 to D6. Yeah. They can.
So he's got two double digs or two end of round digs coming. And I'm wondering if he's going to put them on A5. Like he's about to get a double dig, I'm guessing. Like this is double dig coming, B3, I3, turn into green kind of thing. Then what's he
Right.
doing with his end of round digs?
Is he getting two of them? And he's currently on step 7 of water. Is he sending the extra priest to water?
Uh, that's what I would expect, but I'm not deep finesse. What
I,
would you do with that?
I don't know. I'd think hard about it because it would mean, and I mean these are subtle things here, but it would mean overproducing a priest going into round 6. That's probably a silly thing to worry about. Yeah, I think that was a silly point for me to make. That's me being silly, everyone. It would come at a cost of a worker going into round 6.
Oh, because he's gonna build his sanctuary.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's usually when you send the 5th priest to a cult that things can get dicey for factions. Okay. Derange is saying I might hard dig A5 here. There's a starry. Get leech from deep finesse. Overbuilding another trading post. I think nomads just want to build 5-point TPs here. Singular, I suppose. No, I think wait a second. If Swarmlings come to B3 this round, is that what you're expecting, Jekyll? Then Astari can get out 2 more trading posts this round. He'll need a worker conversion. Yeah. Oh, Astari wants Act 5. He does? Deranged? What was wrong with my line?
Oh, he can actually afford a dwelling and 2 TPs.
Oh yeah, of course. I thought he was going to need 2 worker conversion, but no, he has 5. He has 5 dwellings. Hey, J Stu, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, you're totally right. That makes sense. And he has exactly enough coins with no more leech, right? 8 coins is 2 trading posts and a dwelling. There you go. Yep.
Okay, so then he would put his 2 digs on C2?
C2? Yeah, probably. It's all the same. I mean, A4 opens up another dwelling to build on, which is nice, but I don't think it's overly necessary. So
Right, especially since his mega town, or whatever you call the 2 town,
yeah,
is going to be in the southwest.
Exactly. And he has Earth 1, but still building an extra dwelling with for 2 points isn't that great. There's no future dwelling around. Like, you know, I think B3 C2 is totally fine from deep finesse here.
Then depending on what witches do, like, it's not impossible to still connect. Right?
As swarmlings?
I just
really
know
want deep
that
finesse
deep
to connect here.
finesse.
I mean,
he just pulls, like, he's like a magician. He's like a wizard. He just pulls things out of a hat.
I mean, I haven't counted his resources. I mean, it's possible, as AJ mentioned, like, yeah, D6, H5 stuff in the east. That's some expensive digs near nomads and halflings on 3 ship. It's possible, I guess. If he takes C2, then he can, I don't know, chew through the western stuff. I mean, that's just like a lot of workers and 2 dig advances. Like, I don't know. I just don't think he has the resources.
Yeah, probably not with no more end of round digs coming. Okay, I'll just stop. I'll give up on that.
I mean, you're right that he is a magician, but we'd also need dwellings on all of those. Like, you know, Swarmlings dwellings are expensive, right? Like, you need 4 workers to advance digs. You need at least 3 dwellings down there, or like 4. It's like 8 workers to cut a line from, like, what, C1 down to F1. Like, it's just a lot of stuff, right? It's like it's a lot of workers.
So who is doing well here?
So I think the earlier sort of informal poll was that people were liking Halfling's game, and I think there was some love for nomads. Yeah. I'm going back to a post that Derek said, which is kind of I think somewhat sort of the average of what people said, and it was halflings, nomads. Oh, he said halflings, nomads, swarmlings, witches. I think is kind of what chat roughly said on average. How do we still feel about that?
Yeah, I think I really like the nomad's position, like being able to build all 4 potentially. Like, TPs this round is quite like it's a really really nice timing. Like he's gonna have such good income like the rest of the game.
Sure.
Um,
Well, let's
it is
also think
like
about this. Who's getting more than 2 more towns this game? I mean, Swarmlings already have a town. It was a 2-key town. So let's ignore that for a second. Who's getting more than 2 towns in round 6? No one, probably. Witches, no. Halflings, also no. Swarmlings, also no. Um, yeah, so everyone's getting 2 towns in the final round, and witches are, except witches probably don't, which is quite sad. Do witches not get 2 towns in this game?
um
Please tell me I'm wrong. Uh, I mean, I guess the thing is it was a 2 town witches game if they had dug F4, and it was just never a 3 town game. Is it a 3 town halflings game?
oh
Probably. No?
yes.
Sanctuary for Fire 2? Looks a lot like a 3 town halflings game. I guess one of
Three
the.
town halflings.
I mean, with that dig, we
Yeah.
just saw a dig on H4. It's amazing how one dwelling placement can suddenly change your opinion on things, as though I can't count resources myself. But it's a pretty nice town spot down there. Neighbors on 3 hexes, right? Like, kind of cheap digs.
Yeah, halflings can often like pull off this southern town like in
Yep.
like the last round just starting from nothing. So like it's clearly actually do all three.
And there's actually some efficiency in it because it actually decreases the number of ship they need to connect. So they actually save a ship town in the process. You know what I mean? Um, okay.
So will he build both big buildings next round and keep them at 6 and then just build a temple
For Fire 2.
round?
Yeah, something like that. And so we are seeing, because that's the other thing I want to talk about here is how is this Fire and Ice endgame scoring going to work? I'm in the camp of Swarmlings are Deep Finesse is not going to pull off any wizardry here, and we're going to see them not score any of those endgame points.
I mean, these distances are not looking very big. Like from what I can tell, witches are going to be building Sanctuary Town in the east and hopefully um wow, strongholds in the north. Can they pull this off? It's one, two, three, 5 more digs in the last 2 rounds. No cult digs coming. Can I mean, yes, this looks hard to complete 2 towns for me.
for witches.
Yeah.
It does. And with that
And
second,
and they're down to 5 kernels, so they can't even double dig.
there, you just said it, kernels. I don't want to derail the strategy conversation with nitpicking Terra Mystica language, but I love that you say kernels. Popcorn.
Kernels. What do you call them?
The
Tokens?
swashbuckling Swede. Thank you for the follow. Also, that is the best username I think I've seen for a follow in a long time. The swashbuckling Swede. Everyone do themselves a favor and say that just to themselves right now at home. What do I call kernels? I call them power tokens.
Tokens.
Yeah,
Get a ticket.
tokens, and then you can say it in a Canadian accent. Really drop that O. Tokens.
Tokens.
So witches are getting 1 town in round 6. Halflings are getting 3. In terms of the Fire and Ice scoring, I see
These distances are looking not big at all. So
no.
like
I see 6 for nomads and
halflings.
halflings each. Am I wrong?
I'm seeing 5 for halflings. Oh, sorry, you count one of those, right? It's not just the distance between. Okay, yes, yes, but 6.
Yeah. So that would be if nomads had a built actually their stronghold on G4. That's 6, and then halflings. It's from F3 to G5. Well, anyhow, you see what I'm saying, folks. This is 6, and that's 6 for no. Yeah. So it's six for each of them.
Oh my
And
gosh. So if
that
this is
also
true,
might
Ichigoa is a really good position.
very good position. So it's 3 towns, and the only wild card. No, it's not a wild card. Sorry, I'll finish one thought at a time. There was still like this idea in my head of like, what is Matt up to here? Is he trying to build a temple in the west for sanctuary over there and a stronghold on B5? But we see witches with 2 temples on the board. There isn't a third temple. I mean, unless he builds a stronghold on G1 and a sanctuary on E9, and I mean that would win it. Maybe actually that is what we see. I mean that's really not doing much to help your town aspirations.
But we think that he's only going to get one town anyway.
I guess, but then it's a little confusing about that, going back to that trading post we saw in E9 where you said why didn't he do it on B5 first? If that's the plan, you think that E9 temple would be on B5. And that's the sanctuary town, and you would just drop a random stronghold on G1, and yeah, you miss out on another witches town, but you just clean up 18 endgame points. I'm not understanding the configuration of structures here.
You're saying this just because like that town is like one count more towards 7 / only 1 dig instead of 2.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, he already has a structure up there. I mean, wouldn't you rather a temple on B5 as opposed to a temple on E9 for a town? I mean, he just already has a dwelling on A11. He just needs one more dig and a structure, and he's got 3 hexes. If his sanctuary is on D9, he needs double. He needs 2 spades and 2 more dwellings, right? Like, even the dwelling itself is a consideration aside from the spades. So, I mean, unless what we're seeing here is he is going to double dig D7 and F6, and he's going to do 3 more digs in the north on C4 and A10, and he's still planning for 2 towns in round 6. I don't know. I have no idea. I guess my point is that halflings are getting 3 towns in the town round and are either tying for first or tying for second on fire and ice scoring.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So nomads, they dug A9 and not A5.
Nomads dug A9. So what you said? You said halflings. You said halflings dug? I thought I heard you say halflings dug A9.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I meant nomads.
Yes, as opposed to what? As opposed to A5? Yes. Which makes sense to me.
So they can build their stronghold there.
Yeah. They can build their stronghold there, and Matt has to hard dig A10 pretty quick. Like super quick.
Oh, never mind. Sorry. The nomads, all 4 TPs are out already.
Yeah. I think we had calced this out. We thought we did sort of say that the spade and the dwelling might have been on A5. I think Deranged made that point to get the extra release from Swarmlings. But he just did that on A9. Otherwise, he still got the dig. He took single spade, I believe. He built his dwelling. He built 4 trading posts this round, which we had already sort of calculated. So Astari has had a pretty nice round. Gets to pass for 8 points here. We're gonna see a pass here from Deep Finesse, presumably, unless he takes the priest to stay in the round.
Oh, wait a minute. How did he get the 8 spot? Oh, you know what? Instead of putting his priest occult, he just...
Oh, okay. Duh. Yeah. Right. I was worrying about that spade coming at the cost of a round 6 worker, and Deep Finesse is like, it doesn't. No, you can bump it, silly. Yeah, he just did a priest bump. Makes a lot of sense. Trading a worker is pretty good for a spade is a pretty good deal.
I'm telling you, Bichigo has been on a real tear.
Has been. So we see Deep Finesse passing onto a non-points tile going into round 5 without his sanctuary out and without any technology advances. So it's a fairly unorthodox Stormwings game.
Yeah, and unless halflings decide to try to fight him on Earth, he's going to get like 3 Colwins, couple towns.
Yeah, probably.
In a game with extra scoring, like the winning score is typically what, in like the 170s?
Uh, is it? I mean, I guess it seems kind of. I mean, maybe with the 40-point auction starting, that might be an average. It seems a little high. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, especially with like round 6 towns, I would have thought it would be even higher. It almost feels like town considerations have kind of
Mm-hmm.
fallen behind like the extra scoring. What do you think?
I think so. Yeah, this is not looking like as high of a scoring game as you would expect with round 6 towns and extra scoring. Yes. One thought I had here is with what Deep Finesse is planning for his round. I was initially just sort of playing the game from his perspective for a second and thinking he spent all his resources on a sanctuary. Just insta pass back onto that trading post tile seems very good. Except for we're probably expecting a stronghold from nomads this round. And I guess nomads need 2 sandstorms or would like 2 sandstorms to finish up their towns. But Defense probably just secures his A5 hex this turn. But doesn't have any workers, so I guess it's priest to worker, which means his trading post is going in the south, which is fine. I don't know. I guess that wasn't.
That seems fine.
That's what. Okay, so I followed that logic, and it didn't lead to any overly complicated conclusions.
And also he has a cult bump, so like.
Yeah, which is kind of nice on Earth, maybe, because it means he can avoid sending a priest there. You know, he could like bump Earth and then quickly town for an 8-pointer, even if halflings send their last priest there. Like, I don't know. Sort of looking at that as well. Like, how do you? I guess he can secure Earth this round. You know, he'd overproduce a priest and have to power to worker to build a dwelling. I don't know. He has options.
Hey, Bichigoa, is he building a sanctuary and towning this round?
I don't know. I guess I sort of missed
I thought
that.
he was building both.
Well, he doesn't have the resources for both. He has 6 workers.
He could have like. Yeah, well, that's because he just built H5, and I thought he was going to build sanctuary and stronghold and get 3 digs.
I see. Oh, he spent 2 workers building a dwelling on H5, and you thought he would just build a stronghold, maybe get the landscape down or something? Is that how that works? As a free structure, and then still squeak out the SA?
Yes, that's what I thought was going to happen, and he would just town, possibly make maybe like for a coin town to afford the stronghold.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. So Zorus is saying Temple Sanctuary for Bice. Oh.
Temple.
Like on H4?
Oh, he wants his...
That makes your distance a lot worse. Like, Sanctuary F3, Stronghold G5 allows you to tie nomads for the distance, right?
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So I guess that's a 3-point decision or a delta 6. So no. Okay, so it is just a sanctuary. Bice is really good at watch his clock here. He's been running under most of the game.
Oh, really? I haven't even
Yeah,
noticed.
yeah. Right early on, I made a comment that he was -7. Every time I seem to glance down, I'm sure he's okay.
Oh, okay. Worker town and then say or stronghold.
Can he still get? Oh, okay. So he towned up this round, took Earth
Worker town.
3 to steal Earth,
Oh,
and that gave him the power for the coins for the stronghold.
got
And
it.
he will just never take a scoring favor unless you include Fire 2 as sort of a quasi scoring favor. Earth 2, Earth 3. Nice. I completely missed. So Matt built his sanctuary on E9 for Fire 2. So he absolutely is setting himself up for 2 towns next round. Does he need Fire 2? Well, it's a good point, Simon. I guess with the Stronghold out, he might not. Right. He'll place his lands. Why would his Stronghold go on H4?
Oh, wow.
That has got to be a mistake. What is he doing? He could build it on G5. He wouldn't have to connect. Sorry. Okay. He's mentioning it. That's going to be an
Okay.
undo.
It must be a mistake.
Yeah, 100%. He just wrote in the table chat. Does he? I think he might have to resolve these. Oh no, he declined using the spades and then did his undo. Okay.
Whew.
All right.
So we're still thinking that witches can manage two towns.
I. Uh, hmm. I don't know if that's what I'm saying, but I'm certainly saying that that's what Matt has indicated he is doing for certain. Like that's what he's going to work towards for sure.
He's going to get 5 digs next round.
But herein also lies the problem, and I've been we were counting halflings game and not really looking at this. Is nomads go before witches? How did that happen that nomads built a stronghold and witches didn't hard dig A10?
I mean, I'm guessing he thinks he's like in last, so that like, is
It
Nomads really going to bother messing with him?
I don't know. It's sort of more efficient for a Starry to take A8 because then he can hard dig A7 and use a sandstorm elsewhere. I mean, that's quite the read. Okay. And we see a double dig from a Starry.
Starry hadn't even connected. Like his network, his
Oh, of
connection hadn't even been
course.
secured
Of
yet.
course. He needed to, and he needs A7 in order to
Mm.
connect. And so if he's gonna take A7, he's gonna sandstorm A8 and probably just leave A10 alone. I think Matt was really making that gamble. Um, yeah,
Is somebody on?
yeah, I think so. I'm just going to
And I need to quit.
yeah. Um, sorry about that, folks. I do just have an open voice chat in my server. Perhaps I should make my Discord a little bit more sophisticated, but truth of the matter is anytime I'm live, you can actually just jump in and say hi. I probably should announce that on a stream with
Oh
50 people in
my.
it, but
Yeah, I think Simone B is right. Bisago does not need fire too. Right?
right. And
He's
so
going to build. Do you have enough dwellings for that? Okay, so he'll build one more dwelling in the east, TP dwellings, and that's his third town.
yeah, so he only actually needs to build one more trading post. He doesn't even need to build 2 trading posts. He only needs 3. Yeah, this is so tidy.
It's very
He has like
efficient.
extra structures. Usually when people try to do, I guess that's the beauty of incorporating both big buildings into your town planning. But like usually doing this kind of stuff, 3 towns without fire 2 usually involves another temple for something, a 3-step favor to give yourself another trading post, to give yourself another dwelling. But the combination of using a stronghold, which in and of itself is a 3-point structure, and that unlocking a landscape just makes the town stuff so much smoother.
Yep, and he doesn't have any like extra dwellings like lying around. Nothing needed extra for network. It's all very like efficient.
It's so efficient. And if he wants to throw down a couple dwellings in the last round just for network, like he has F7 he can just dig and E10. You know what I mean? Like he can sort of make those late game decisions on what he wants to do with his final resources. This is just this is so tidy.
Especially given that he doesn't have Earth One or Water One, like building unnecessary structures is really not what he wants to do.
That's right. Oh, and Simon just made a comment that just like is the cream on the crop is he also has the flexibility to connect on one ship. Oh,
Right.
such taste. What? Oh, this is so beautiful. Ah. Okay. Sorry, I'll stop embarrassing everyone and just totally crushing on someone's game here on stream. Oh, but then Simon's also just throwing it in my face and saying, but Bice lost, right? Oh, time?
Based
Oh,
on
is that
time.
actually going to cost him the game? Or is that just a joke? I don't know. I'm streaming this game. I'm not the TMTL organizer. So I
Duragny would have kicked him already.
yeah, Dragnon would have kicked him. Okay, it was a joke. Okay. All right, there's my G1 stronghold that I've been ranting on about for quite some time. So Matt is still gonna try for 2 towns.
I don't even see one. I'm sorry, I don't see one town.
So what is that Fire 2 doing?
He needs
5 spades, and he has 7 worker income, which is less than 5 spades. And 2 coins, and 2 priests, and no power tokens. Yeah. I guess with 10 workers, he can hard dig himself a town in the east. That'd be he can probably I don't know.
6 to dig, a dwelling, and a
He probably
tiki.
squeaks out a town. He hard digs. He declines build. He uses his stronghold to fly over there. He gets some coins, his priests or workers or something. I don't know. He probably maths out a single Fire 2 SA town.
Yes, okay. Yeah, especially if he's using his Oh, he can never mind. He can't even build his landscape now because he's already built his sanctuary.
Here's the thing he can do. He can fly to I3.
Ooh.
And yeah, Matt, Derek saw that. I think I said that just as you wrote that in chat.
I mean, oh. I there. Might as well go to I3.
Someone with more brain power help.
You know what? Maybe Matt the Lesser is just like a really classy guy and he doesn't like his game is already no.
He's not that classy. No, I think Matt would wreck your town normally if he wanted to.
Maybe he's one of those people that are like, I'm doing so shit that like I shouldn't mess with anybody else. Maybe he's like that.
That's cold, Jekyll. That's cold.
Let's see, 2, 3.
Yeah. So that's confusing because that's not going to be part of your network, right? Just to close the loop on that, like D1 is not going to be part of your network. So then why not toss it onto I3? Yeah, I mean Deep Finesse just goes for it. So why did Swarmlings double dig and dig H1 to brown? Swarmlings could have just gone single spade there. Like Deep Finesse chose to spend
just messing with nomads.
Spent 2 extra coins to... I mean, no one wanted that power action, so he's just spending 2 coins to mess with Nomads. Why? They're not competing in network?
I'm just as confused as you.
Okay. I'm glad, because otherwise I would have just assumed that I was just way too exhausted to be streaming right now, and thought I was doing a bad job here. Deep Finesse's revenge on Astari. I mean, is it though, Barnawal? Like, Deep Finesse, I don't know. Has he calced out his resources to know that that extra 2 coins wasn't a resource point that he needs at the end of the game? Like...
And
And
like, did Nomads need that?
did Nomads need it? Even if Nomads took it, is that bad for Swarmlings? Like, they're not in competition with on network stuff. Like, I won't sit here and dwell on every little thing on this game that I don't understand. But
Okay. Well, anyway, okay, let's look at network. So,
network.
do witches at least have network?
Nope.
No.
Super don't.
No, they do not.
No, halflings definitely beat their network. I mean, as it stands, halflings have more structures down than nomads. Halfling structures are more expensive on average because nomads have access to more dwellings. Nomads have more stuff, but halflings have... And they both have 2 towns coming in. So nomads probably squeak network here. Okay, maybe H1 was some sort of important.
Is this like a case of Deep Finesse just playing for second?
Okay, so Zorus has come in with something for us. So bridge SH to F2, I think is what he's saying. Triple dig the brown. You got yourself a town. And witches can afford that. Okay.
Triple dig?
Yeah, triple dig at E2.
How? What?
8 workers. Oh, and a priest. Second priest is a worker to build the dwelling, or you decline build and fly there. He had another triple dig opportunity without the bridge, though. Okay. I mean, I guess this is just cheaper because it's just 2 digs and a trading post. And an extra dwelling. I don't know if it's actually cheaper.
Oh, but then he would have been able to connect one more too.
Oh, that's true.
Network. Like, we're already saying that he's just getting like 3rd on network or something, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. I mean, he also doesn't have his landscape down, and he can't get it down anymore because he built the sanctuary. Right. Gotta love those landscapes. The ones that are designed in such a way where you can meet the prereqs to build them, and then later lose the prereqs. So witches are never getting a landscape down, which means they need like another temple, than halflings kind of thing to beat their network. Yeah, so witches are getting last in network, and first and second in network is going to nomads and halflings respectively, and then they are tying for the stronghold sanctuary distance. Is that true? No. Okay. So halflings get second in the stronghold and sanctuary thing, right? The reason we said they could tie Jekyll was because nomads had the option of building their stronghold on G4, which they did not do. So halflings get second in the Fire and Ice endgame scoring.
That is amazing. Would not have expected on this map that second place for distance would be
right.
halflings.
So Nomads, did Nomads just manage to scoop up both 8-pointers? He did. And those are very nice 8-pointers. Well, particularly on water, I guess. I guess that's the one thing about Bisigoa's game is that he has a total of 8 call points. Like nothing on air, nothing on water, nothing on fire.
I think that's okay. He hasn't like put a bunch of priest to call only to get a bunch of thirds. Like he's not.
It's true. It's true. He didn't inefficiently convert priests into no points. He just used those priests elsewhere.
This is pretty amazing. Temple 3 dwelling opening is always very good.
Mm-hmm.
It was not guaranteed, you know, given like the fact that swarmlings could take one of those like power scrolls, but like it's just not a great opening for them either. So like I guess it was a pretty like good gamble.
Yeah. So question for you here. How are Swarmlings finishing their third town? I mean, options are upgrading digs and getting another dwelling out, or building a temple for fire too.
What? Their third?
Their third mega town in the south.
Yeah. It has to be fire too, right?
Well, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I mean, not that it really matters, but we do see Swarmlings finish their town in the north as a 7-point town. Oh, he would need no, he would just need a dwelling, and then he hasn't used a stronghold ability. So he would upgrade digs, build a dwelling on H1. There you go. He would build it on H1.
We already determined he doesn't even need that.
If he fire 2s, he doesn't need it. I guess what I'm wondering is if Deep Finesse like doesn't fire 2 this game and he upgrades digs, double digs H1, builds a dwelling on it, and turns it into a TP.
Okay.
It saves him having to build another temple, so his resources are dig advances versus fire 2. I mean, fire 2 isn't looking terrible for him here just for the cult steps, but he probably still locks it up anyhow.
And priests. Upgrading digs is 12 points. Like, what else is he doing with that, with his resources anyway? No, I think I agree with you.
Which makes the double dig more rational because those extra 2 power were just a worker for him. Right? Like if he was upgrading digs anyhow. Yeah, anyhow. So, cool. So Deep Finesse has another town coming. And probably 3 call wins. Witches have a town coming. And Halflings have a town coming. And Nomads are done making towns. We still
They've got some pretty good cult points coming, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's contesting fire. Probably still just gets second. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say how that's going to shake up. I guess he probably does get second on it. I think Swarmlings and Nomads each have 1 cult priest left this game, right? Like Nomads need a ship advance and Swarmlings need a dig advance. So, and Swarmlings have a town coming in, which could be a priest town. I don't know that he'll make it in time.
In time for what? Like nobody else is putting priest to cult.
No, in time to get the town. Sorry, I should have finished that sentence. I think Halflings
will want the priest town.
Probably.
This is a great Halflings game.
So Barnawal saying, is there any way that Deep Finesse is beating BC Goa? I think Deep Finesse is finishing around 160. He has a lot still. It's true. So what does Swarmlings have left? I mean, they've got probably a 7-point town, 5 on the track. He does have a pass tile. He gets to upgrade a 3-point trading post, pass for 12. It's 27. Another dig advance is 6, 33. Plus resources for, I don't know what else.
Never mind. Witches get the priest down, of course.
Witches get the priest down. Yeah, Deepiness has got a lot of points.
Nothing on network, nothing on extra scoring.
It's true. So he's got a bunch of points, yeah, and then the cult points. He's got what, 24 and 3 or something. I don't know. I guess Matt probably, what does he send a priest to water here with his last priest?
Water. Yeah. Seems the best use. I mean, he's just gonna get third anyway, isn't he? I wonder if he should have actually just... Oh no, he couldn't have.
So some interesting
He can
comments.
actually afford a dwelling.
Sorry, go ahead. Who can afford an extra dwelling?
Yes, he'll won't he just put a dwelling on A3? He has Earth 1 and he has like the dwelling scroll.
Probably. So he flies to A3 and then builds, like he can fly to I11 and then build a dwelling on A3.
Oh, he still has a flight?
He still has a flight. So yeah, but you're right either way. Yeah, probably he's just using all his resources for 6 points of dwellings.
Oh, I thought he couldn't afford all that, like his town. Oh, I thought like D7 was a flight.
Yeah, I wasn't paying that close attention to the math. A couple comments in chat that are both sort of saying similar things, that like people are saying this game is a lot closer than expected. I think Barnawall is saying, yeah, looks close to me, much closer than I thought it would be. Fickles just plugging back in, looks way closer than I expected. It is interesting once you factor in all those pieces, right? Of the cult stuff and then the network play. Witches are out of the game, but they're taking the Fire and Ice Endgame scoring with them, you know, so... Fickles says, FYI, listening to TM stream in one ear while trying to read aloud a book doesn't work. Yeah, gosh, that sounds terrible. I'm like a nightmare in your ear.
So I have this problem where like anytime I'm reading aloud to my kids, I like fall asleep as I'm reading. Like I'm literally like words are coming out of my mouth and I fall asleep and then I say some like jibber jabber, and it's often Terra Mystica jibber jabber. Where like my kids are like, well, I'll come to and I'll be like, wait, what did I just say? And they're like, well, you said something about like flings or whatever.
That's funny. I do have a tendency to fall asleep playing out different Terra Mystica openings in my head.
That's how you put yourself to sleep?
Yeah. Just playing around with different openings and playing with math. Probably exposing myself as even more of it. Well, people play, this is a Terra Mystica stream. Everyone here huge geeks. What am I talking about? Everyone does that kind of stuff.
You know, I was recently talking to Fickles about how like I'm sure like you're not offended if I say like you really specialize in like certain factions.
Me? No, yeah, no, certainly.
Darklings, cultists, Engies?
Yeah, the overrated S factions of Terra Mystica that I just pay too much for and then min-max to try to still win with them. Yeah, I think that's...
Well, like, so, like, I was listening to a stream, and I remember you were saying, like, I don't know, like, round 3 or 4, you said something like, "Oh, like given that I'm Darklings and like I have this much out, like I'm going to get down to like 15 structures." And I heard that and I was like, "Is this like how you normally play?" Like I never ever think like that. Like how many structures will I be at by the end of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think to some degree I try to make a game plan around that. I think some of it revolves around how many temples you plan on building, like based on like what faction you are and like whether you're building a sanctuary or not. Like sometimes I feel like I can count whether or not you're getting those structures down, how many structures are available to you. I think is probably a better way of putting it. Like I can see my network ceiling. Like sometimes you end the game, you're like, crap, I still have a dwelling that I couldn't build because I'm short a coin or whatever. But it's, the difference between 15 and 16 structures is like a whole other temple TP dwelling kind of thing. So I think sometimes if I say that, like, oh, this is a network 15 game, I'm not necessarily trying to, count down to the last worker and coin, but I'm counting roughly like how many structures, how many dwellings are going to be available to me to build based on stronghold, sanctuary, temple kind of stuff. I think is probably a more accurate way of
And I
putting it.
think that that comes from like, can you do the same? Like, do you do the same for all the factions, or do you think you do it more for like the factions that you play a lot?
I think most of the factions, yeah. I probably don't think that way for Swarmlings. In Alchemists, it's kind of hard to know. You just build so much stuff. But, yeah, I think most other factions probably.
Okay. All right. Well, I was gonna say like that comes from experience, from just like you know how like a game is going just because you've played like certain factions so much. Like you can tell that this is like
That's,
the feel.
yeah, well, that's true also with certain factions. If I'm playing witches or mermaids or nomads, cultists, darkling, NG, like, that kind of stuff is a bit of a texture to the game. You can sort of feel how tall can I do this Darklings game before I push out kind of thing. You can kind of get a feel for, I think, a little bit of how big your game's going to be.
Yeah. I think that that's maybe like that's just everybody's doing that and I'm just like out of the ordinary, but like I never and heard somebody talking like that. So I was surprised and
Hmm,
very impressed when you did that on your stream.
interesting.
Went and told
Yeah, well,
Fickles.
different weird things that we do. We uh
Yeah.
we do see the first pass of the game. Matt has just mic dropped
Okay.
out. And here comes a town from Deep Finesse. It is the worker town. Well, I assume. Yeah, so there's the worker town. Now, Bisigoa took a coin town.
Wait a minute. He never upgraded to the last. Uh, he just four worker dig that brown then H1.
Who?
He didn't. Sorry, Swarmlings did not upgrade digs all the way.
That's true.
So did he four worker dig H1? We weren't paying
I did
attention.
not pay attention to that. I noticed he slow played it. Yeah, I noticed the slow play. So he did 2 workers at a time.
Interesting.
Yeah. I saw the individual digs. You and I were ranting about other stuff. I didn't comment on it. I didn't notice that he didn't have his tech advances, his dig advances up fully. Um, so, so what does that mean? He wants a temple for. He wants his workers for. No, it wouldn't be a worker thing. He spent workers. Now he's doing a dig advance. I don't know.
Is interesting.
That's interesting because it couldn't be town tempo because he slow played it.
Oh, wait a minute. So he just gained five workers, right? Because he gained three from the town and
Oh,
he
did he
took
not have enough for
the
double
worker
dig
town.
advances and then the digs and then the dwelling? He
Must have
actually,
been
if it's 3 digs away,
four.
no, because it was only 2 digs away, so
Wait
it
a
would have been a
minute.
wash, right? If it was only 2
Hmm.
digs away, then you save a worker every time. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah.
Maybe he thought he was saving a priest. I can't keep up with all this stuff I find when I'm streaming because I end up talking about other things. But maybe he at the time was saving a priest to defend the fire cult because he thought, I don't know, nomads might take it from him, that he needed that extra priest, and then realized later he didn't. So I'm not entirely sure what that was about.
Okay. And the other thing is he's ending at uh 6 resources, so like the 2 workers that he saved don't even
Yeah.
equal a point. So maybe he already figured that out.
We do see Deep Finesse pass. So his 144 is with his 12 points of pass tiles. And then the final pass has happened. And we can finally calc this out.
Oh my gosh. If Deep Finesse wins this anyway, is he winning this? 167? That's 2 more. 169?
So there's a 2. So Network is tied between BC Goa and Nomads. And then BC Goa has second on Endgame on Fire and Ice scoring. So BC Goa has 15 network points or something. And 12 Fire and Ice Endgame, which is 27.
Oh my
which
god, are you
wins.
kidding me?
The biggest in my life. Okay. So, okay. So not only did Deep Finesse win, but he won by a decent margin against Nomads. Okay, it's close between him and Halflings. But yeah. That's incredible. So he wins against Nomads there, that whole game that we saw on play, by 18 points. That's quite the wow. That's quite the win. Well, congratulations to Deep Finesse. I'm going to try to get him on voice chat here in a second, and we can pester him with questions.
He doesn't even want to come anymore. He's like, I've got nothing new to say. I won. Won again. My gosh.
You can't type.
I want to know why Matt the Lesser didn't build on I2.
Hello?
Hey, welcome. Congratulations on that win.
Hi. Thanks, Webber.
We have so many questions. So,
I don't have any answers, but I'll try.
We have questions.
Start with Earth 1.
Yeah, take it away, Jackal.
Yeah, let's start with the Earth 1 pick. Like, what were you envisioning for the game that would lead you to take Earth 1?
Yeah, the Swarmlings plan took me a while to figure out, but I think the starting spots combined with scoring favors and just try to grab as many points as possible while winning the codes and giving up on network and dash distance scoring seemed the best way to go. And then like when I figured out the starting spot seemed good enough and basically envisioned like building these 3 towns as the game plan, it seemed like the gap between at that time at the bidding like the 20-point gap was enough, and so that until like taking Earth 1 and then like doing 4 moves in round 1, so that if Matt also does his 4 moves with witches with the temp ship, then I get to pass first and do double take, build 2 dwelling, and just get some more points round 2.
So E4, like that blue in the center, was never in the was not really something you were like gunning for?
E4, well, it was part of the plan. It was definitely part of the plan. And so like I felt like that's also part of why I was willing to jump the Swarmlings at that point, was there was it was like the 2 plans. I could play, potentially make a play on network if E4 goes for too long, or I could do like 1 town during round 3, round 4 for the 2 key, and 2 more towns round 6 to follow up. So like I had a really long tank when it started tripled like that, and I was like, okay, one of my plans is shot. So hopefully the second plan is good enough.
Yeah, I don't think either of us saw that. Because we saw the dig. We both saw the connection piece. Eventually, we sort of played that out and saw that you could make the And I thought that you'd be able to just take your time getting to E4, and that Nomads were actually just like waiting for you desperately to get there, so they'd have some adjacency and build around you. So we were pretty surprised by that dig. Were you surprised to see it come?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised. I thought they had all the time in the world too, but it also makes sense because nomads they did not have all the time in the world, and I was not going to go there anywhere soon. So like the only credible threat they had was just to take it away, like they, because really they needed to do the trading posts next to E4 for like an easier town there, but
Right.
it was just gonna take me way too long to get there, and they wanted to build their trading posts around 4.
Interesting. Um, if E4 was sort of in the cards, or at least in one iteration of this plan, of like building on E4 and sort of making a network play, Jekyll pointed this out on voice chat sort of early on. I want to ask you about it. Was your starting location on H2 then actually an error? Because if you did connect, and I know it's an if because you didn't, but if you did connect, couldn't you have just sort of
Oh,
done
I
a
see
sanctuary
it.
on I1?
Oh, yes, yes, that is yes, I see it now.
I mean, I would have never, it would have never dawned on me to
That is
start
wow. I
I1,
just saw
but
it mid sentence, and I was like, yes, that is amazing. Wow,
very cool,
thanks.
eh? Yeah, interesting.
That is such an amazing play. Yes, I agree.
Um,
Definitely, definitely.
so I guess another thing I just want to ask is what did you think ultimately sort of went well for you in this game? I mean, you can watch the VOD later if you're so inclined, but for most of the stream, from both of us commenting on the game and in chat, like people thought your game was pretty interesting and you were making good plays, but I don't think for the most part people had you winning this game. It was sort of a battle at different points between halflings and nomads. There was some disagreement there. At the end of the day, you ended up with an 18-point gap in nomads. Were you always kind of just ahead in this game, and we missed that, or was there something that happened at one point this game that you feel kind of propelled you into first place?
No, I think Bisago was very close the whole time. I think the couple of good breaks that went my way during round 2 and round 3 were how the coins actions broke.
Ah,
Like I think in the sense that who took them and like they actually didn't need it that much that
mm-hmm.
turn, like they could have fully utilized it. But it also blocked another player that really needed it, like off of coins that turn. I think that happened like once or twice. And I think that was like sort of fabulous for me because it sort of brought the score around the table down a bit and tempered everyone's expansion a little bit. So I think that ended up in my favor. Although, like the other thing was that witches and nomads, I was kind of expecting them to win that work, or like to both be in contention for first. But halflings being able to tie for first in that work was I guess a point in my disfavor because that meant like Bisago was really close to catching my score.
Right, right. Now, how long this game did you think that witches had a play for network here? Is that just, you mean out of the opening you saw that, or throughout the game were you still sort of expecting witches to make a play for network?
During the bidding, I was expecting witches to make a play for network, but after I like decided that the Swarmlings D5 was a very good start, I like then jumped to Swarmlings immediately. I was like, well, like Witch's game plan is kind of in jeopardy if Swarmlings start there because I think partially their game plan was always to
Mm-hmm.
like the game plan I had in mind for Witches was for Swarmlings to maybe take ship score round 1 and to take double dig away from halflings,
Right.
which like kind of kills their game plan round 1. And then witches just do their tempo temp ship to 2 hexes, and then round 2, and then pass the fastest for double dig round 2. And then they get to dig through the D5 C3 stretch.
Mm-hmm.
But because round 1 is tempo scoring, so Swarmlings takes this alternative route of going just one tempo and then pass, then they get to do that, and like that's huge. Like that's just terrible for witches.
Right. Jekyll, sorry, I've been a bit of a mic hog. Over to you. Do you have other questions for DFNS?
I mean, how if Bisagawa was so close to you in score, I wonder if digging H1, unless you had like knew you were ahead, maybe like letting nomads get H1 would have been better.
True, but I felt like the alternative was I5, and that was a little too close to everyone for comfort. So I didn't want to like risk um someone being able to touch that hex, whereas H1 felt a little safer.
Mm.
Yeah. It's kind of true that I might have left it for Starry to fight network, but I didn't finish the calculations in that regard.
Do you mind just sort of talking us through starting locations a little bit? You did, obviously mentioned about your D5 opening. We spent quite a bit of time in the early part of the stream trying to figure out opening locations and kind of thought D2 was in the books there. You sort of talk us through the different options you sort of saw for yourself and ultimately why you landed on H2 D5.
Yeah, well, D2 is actually, I think, never an option in this scenario, and in many scenarios of Nomads unrevised, because their game plan is so often to get one ship round one and claim the triangular area up there. So with like Brown in the game, they basically have to start E5 instead of D3. And then once they start E5, there was no reason for them to go to D3. So that means that like D2 was never going to be a neighbor spot. And so that makes it inferior to I1. So like that was always like the the idea would be for Swanley to like claim a neighbor spot and also like claim the I1 that location for the easy digs and easy builds. And so really the only spot after thinking about it was D5 because I didn't want to do any digging round one. I wanted to save it for round two to be able to hit the track with the temple event and then the dwelling events.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Well, the last thing I'm just sort of personally curious about, Jekyll and I were sort of watching the sequencing at the very end of the game. You did two back-to-back slow play digs, two worker digs with one dig advance on H1, towned up with a worker town, and then later upgraded digs before you passed. Can you sort of explain that sequence to us? We were trying to figure out what was going on that could have made sense.
Yeah, the main consideration was the Starry taking fire 3 to pass me on fire.
Right.
So I wanted to keep my priest around, and I could I think there was still a spot on fire at that point, so I could send if Starry sent his priest to fire with enough resources to take fire 1, now it's gonna send my priest to fire and then grab the power town instead, and then upgrade my digs using a 5 power priest.
Gotcha.
Which was like that was always the backup plan. And that just depended on whether Starry like threatened me on fire or not.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's awesome. Jackal, do you have any final questions for DFNS?
Oh, game that was surprising, and to think that if you had connected, like, it would have been even easier.
Yes, I think so. I think letting me connect would have been like huge for me, and it was like a huge investment. Sorry, it's part denying workers, but like it's kind of hard to say if it's worth it or not. But letting me connect is just too big. I don't think. I think he would have needed to take it at some point, and might as well during the dig round.
Yeah, although there was some point when witches flew to D1 and they could have flown to I3 instead.
Yes, that was, I think, a pretty grave error on my part. Like doing the if I did the calculation, I could have dug the yellow to turn earlier and left it gray instead of turning it to green.
Right.
So I think that would have cost me a couple of points, perhaps the second dig upgrade. I'm not sure, but it definitely would have. It might have like necessitated fire 2, which is not desirable. So yeah, that was a pretty big error on my part.
Well, you ultimately got away with that and hammered out a really awesome game here, putting up 169. 169 in a game where you didn't get any points on either network or the Fire and Ice scoring itself. So that's pretty impressive. That's really awesome. Well played, DFNS.
Thanks.
Yeah. So thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate it. And good luck in the,
No
in the rest of the
problem.
Premier League.
Thanks.
All right.
See ya.
Awesome. Jekyll, do you have sort of any final thoughts on this game that you wanted to speak to before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I think I need to go and look a little harder at this Swarmlings game and try to figure out, like, I've tried to do this before. You know, Swarmlings are very consistent. Like the amount of points that they can score, I'm sure like the range of that is not very big. So when they start at 40 and you just assume that they get X number of points consistently, I wonder if you could have just, even without like the extra scoring, could have kind of figured out that he'd be somewhere around this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, deep finesse is an incredible player and
Right.
sort of like optimizes everything perfectly. But even playing this in a setup that's slightly less optimal, I mean, what happened here? They didn't make any points on network. They didn't get any fire and ice scoring. They got Earth 1, which probably expected. Probably someone's not taking it here with all of the ceiling that's available. So they just basically, it's like 3 favor tile, 3 point scoring favor tile swarmlings, an early 2 key town, 2 towns in round 6 with your landscape, and did well in the cults. Right? I mean, I guess, you know, and starting with 40 points. I think someone made that comment in chat as well. You know, it's like, how do you win here? And it's like, well, take swarmlings at 40. So, obviously, that's not entirely the case, given that Defense only had a 4-point margin on BC Goa. So he definitely needed to pour all of his strategy and math and stuff into this game to make it work. But yeah, swarmlings.
Another interesting thing is that, like, I often kind of associate Earth 1 with like if you're connecting, if you're building a lot of dwellings, you want Earth 1. But like Defense made the point that like he didn't think he was going to be getting like any of those end game scoring like points. And therefore like Earth 1 is even more important. So like you know, there's many ways to approach this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is so he built 11 non-landscape structures, right? So he built 9 dwellings this game after Earth 1. I think the thing is like, even if you're not playing like a, you know, network swarmlings with a mid-game dwelling round kind of thing with ship VP and shipping and all that kind of stuff, even if you're not doing that, I think like Earth 1 with swarmlings, when you're doing 3 towns with a landscape game, like it's usually pretty good just to take it. So
Oh, and he made the point that like he chose D5 because like it wasn't going to get disrupted in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And like same with like the Southwest, like that's just totally secure spot. So then like, you know, Earth 1 isn't much of a gamble. Like he knows he's going to get like a bunch of those dwellings out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for doing this with me. This is really amazing. It was a pleasure to have you on, and yeah, I feel like
it's a great kickoff to the Tuesday League.
Absolutely.
Tournament.
Yeah. Please come back, everyone who came out to hang out tonight and watch. It's been great to have you all, and lots of great discussion and chat. It's been very active, so really appreciate that. Come back and watch Premier League every week. Probably be making some announcements and stuff in the Discord, so stay tuned for that. But we'll probably be streaming some more of these sort of in the coming weeks, so just stay tuned for updates around that, both in the TMTL Discord, which someone posted a link earlier. I'm just going to plug the TMTL Discord here, provide a link. If you aren't in this, please join. This is the TMTL Discord. And then if you're not part of my Discord as well, if you want notifications on when I'm going live as well, for various streams that I do, including probably other Premier League streams, jump in there. So there's a link to both my Discord and the TMTL. Yeah, if you want to drop me a follow on the channel, that's always appreciated. You'll get notifications when I go live for future games. But we'll wrap things up here for now, folks. Once again, thanks everyone so much for tuning in for this incredible game. It was a lot of fun to talk through this. We will see you on the next one. Have a good night for now.
Good night.